This is your morning Buzzcast for Tuesday, August 12th. I'm Abe Madkour. Monday was a massive day for TKO Group, Dana White, and Mark Shapiro, as well as the new leadership at Paramount, as TKO Group and Paramount signed a 7-year, $7.7 billion rights agreement that makes Paramount the exclusive home of all UFC events in the United States. They'll start distributing UFC's events via Paramount Plus, with a number of events to be simulcast on CBS. Yes, the UFC will be on the Tiffany Network, CBS. Let's first get to the money. UFC, of course, was with ESPN. They were receiving about $550 million per year. And now with this deal, yes, the UFC will get a significant increase, bringing in roughly $1.1 billion a year, although the deal is heavily backloaded. So the first couple years will not be at that per year rate, but later in the deal, it will. So it's a big payday for the UFC. That's what they were looking for. They wanted to double their money, and they did. What an opening for David Ellison, Jeff Shell, Jerry Cardinal, as the deal comes just a few days after Skydance closed on its acquisition of Paramount. Though talks between the companies really preceded the acquisition, Paramount began speaking with the TKO Group in June. Remember, ESPN had an exclusive negotiating window that expired, so more bidders were at the table. Now, Dana White said he did not think that they would end up with Paramount and CBS, but this is how it played out. Let's face it, Paramount needed a big move. CBS needed a new, high-profile sports property, and to me, this aligns with the new look Paramount and its leadership. It almost is like Rupert Murdoch buying the NFL in 1994 or in the early 90s. This is that big a deal for this company. What else is really significant? Both sides are abandoning pay-per-view. That is a game changer. They are moving away from the UFC's existing pay-per-view model. They'll put more events on Paramount Plus, open to larger distribution, and it really is the beginning of the end, I believe, of the pay-per-view concept. There was a lot of talk among media leaders that the UFC would split up its rights among various parties, but no, Paramount came in and wanted the entire package. They knew that after the UFC, there are not a lot of big sports properties on the market. There is a scarcity of rights. This was the way that they could make a major impact. Dana White was having fun yesterday with Pat McAfee, saying this planned UFC bout at the White House next year, it could be live on CBS, free and widely distributed. What a marketing tool that would be for the UFC. And again, I can't help but say what a major shot in the arm for Paramount Plus. How many of you are out there are subscribers? Let me know. It's about $13 a month without ads, about $8 a month with ads. I can imagine this will really help subscription acquisition, subscription growth, because Paramount Plus has not been a major player in this streaming space. Now they can be on the back of the UFC. And finally, bottom line, this shows the appeal of the UFC, which has a young, kind of dynamic fan base. Viewers are so committed to this product. What a story for the Fertitta brothers and Dana White. Remember, they paid $2 million for the UFC in 2001. Now they see media rights go for $7.7 billion over 7 years in just the North American market. They still have the international rights to sell. So, a huge day for the UFC and Paramount. I can't stress enough how important this story is. Everyone you speak with on a college campus all talks about the need for revenue and growing revenue. And here's another example. As the University of South Carolina will have corporate signage on the field at Williams-Brice Stadium for the first time over the next 5 seasons. A Columbia-based company, Blanchard Machinery, will have their signs on each 25-yard line for the next 5 years. It will help renovate parts of the stadium. Financial terms were not disclosed, but they said the money was significant. And so this speaks again to college campuses and athletic departments doing all they can to raise more revenue for revenue sharing and other needs. Meanwhile, at Clemson, listen to this. Clemson's athletic department expects to increase its total revenue from athletics by about $40 million from last year to this year. That is significant growth, and that should be more than enough to deal with the increase in the new expenses stemming from the House settlement, including revenue sharing. So how did Clemson get $40 million of revenue, new revenue? Well, conference initiatives, on-campus efforts. Yes, they asked fans, donors, and students for more money with athletic fees. Clemson also anticipates earning about $120 million in new revenue over the next 6 years. Yes, they are projecting $20 million of revenue growth each year. Very significant, very ambitious. So how do they project out these figures? Well, they've begun selling alcohol at sporting events. They had the Savannah Bananas in April. They will continue to bring many non-sporting events and concerts to campus. And of course, they are exploring a number of new sponsorship deals. So the bottom line, all inventory on college campuses is being explored to sell, and every asset is up for sale as colleges pursue more and more revenue growth. Let's move on to the NFL. Have you been watching any of Hard Knocks? Let me know if you have. To me, after only one episode, yes, I feel the storytelling is a bit soft, but that's the way that Hard Knocks has been progressing over the last few years. But I will say, even as a Patriot fan, I love Josh Allen. What a real, legit, kind person. Everything I've seen with him lately, his interactions with fans and media, top notch, a true pro. So here's another example. If you have not watched it yet, New Era has released a very funny piece that shows Josh Allen in his recently announced role as shareholder in the company in his new position as director of Billustration. It's very funny. It almost feels like The Office. It's very sharp, and it really shows Allen's personality. And it's so smart because right now, Josh Allen and really the Bills can do no wrong, especially in New York, upstate New York. New Era worked with the advertising firm, the Martin Group. It's a lighthearted 2-minute film, and nearly half of what Allen did was reportedly ad-libbed or improvised. Check it out. It's on YouTube now, and the star power and the star appeal of Josh Allen continues to grow, and I'll just say it, he is one of my favorites. Let me know what you think of Josh Allen. Staying with athlete news, while in Connecticut over the weekend, I tried my first Throne Sport coffee. It's a cold brew in a very competitive space. I didn't think much of it when I drank it. Then I read an article just yesterday that Patrick Mahomes is partnering with beverage industry executive Michael Fideli on the product. Fideli was previously at Body Armor. He's a former 40 under 40 honoree. He launched this brand in May of 2024, brought on Mahomes as the lead investor and number 2 stakeholder, and now the two are trying to do a national rollout of this product. They are apparently in Whole Foods, and they will be in more and more states. I think you'll see Patrick Mahomes subtly in more promotion for this Throne Sport coffee. Again, a very competitive space, but let's see what a beverage veteran like Fideli mixed with the star power of Patrick Mahomes can do together to potentially grow this brand. And finally, not great news for the NFL, as a Nevada court likely cleared the way for a lawsuit filed by former Raiders coach John Gruden to proceed against the NFL and Commissioner Roger Goodell. Gruden had alleged that the NFL had a malicious and orchestrated campaign to hurt his career by leaking emails he had sent that included many controversial comments. So the NFL's only remaining avenue right now would be an appeal to the Supreme Court. So this could proceed and be potentially a public embarrassment for the league by exposing emails and correspondences, or the case, of course, could be settled. But you're going to hear more and more about John Gruden's legal action against the NFL in the days ahead. And that is your morning Buzzcast for Tuesday, August 12th. I'm Abe Madkour. Thanks for listening. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. I'll speak to you on Wednesday.